CBS News has learned authorities in Pennsylvania have reopened an investigation into sexual abuse claims made against a Catholic priest. Now, this comes as Pope Francis faces calls to resign over a claim that he knew about alleged sex abuse by a former American cardinal and allowed him to serve unpunished. A grand jury report released this month identified hundreds of abusive priests and more than 1,000 child victims across Pennsylvania. Nikki Battiste has been following this story and shows us the efforts to bring some alleged predators to justice. Nikki, good morning.
Good morning. Over the past few weeks, we've spoken with many alleged victims who, as adults, came to grips with what they say happened to them as children. Almost all report they were blocked from getting justice because the statute of limitations had expired. Now, CBS News has learned at least one decades-old case is reopened in Pennsylvania.
It started, running up to his place and, some alcohol and then dirty movies. It just went from there.
Grooming you.
Yeah, basically.
That's how Ed Rogers says his abuse began in the late 1980s. He brought us to the grounds of his former Catholic high school.
They didn't want to do anything about it.
Where he described how he claims the principal, Father Desmond McGee, raped him repeatedly for years.
When it's finished, good boy, let's go.
He said good boy?
Oh, yeah, he said good boy. I had to do my confessionals right to him.
He reported the abuse to the Diocese of Erie in 1990, around the time McGee expelled him, blaming a poor attendance record and academic deficiencies.
I think it's disgusting what they did and what they covered up. And I don't know how else to look at it.
Did you ever have any disciplinary problems or anything in school?
No, nothing like that. I mean, I wasn't great grades, but I was a C or above. You couldn't play sports if you're under a C average.
In a phone call from his nursing home, McGee told CBS News, "It's not true. I did not abuse anybody." Former Bishop Donald Troutman says he didn't learn of the allegations until 1996. In a statement, Troutman claims he notified law enforcement and says the church investigated the allegations and found them not to be substantiated.
I haven't worn this since I was 17.
Since the abuse ended?
Yep.
After we spoke with Rogers, CBS News learned police have reopened the investigation into his claims at the request of the district attorney. A police report from the Times shows prosecutors determined the statute of limitations had run out on the reported sexual assaults, and a judge in 1997 concluded the statute of limitations had run out for a civil lawsuit. The church soon after promoted McGee to Monsignor. What's your reaction when you learn there's a law that protects the man you say raped you?
Angry, disappointed. Actually surprised, too.
Pennsylvania's behind the curve.
Marcy Hamilton is a University of Pennsylvania professor. She says some 41 states have eliminated the statute of limitations for at least some child sex abuse charges. There are efforts underway in Pennsylvania to do the same. For now, Hamilton says she believes prosecutors could still pursue other options, like child endangerment charges against some church officials.
The secrets were being kept, children were being endangered, and the hierarchy was well aware of it. I think those claims actually have real possibilities.
McGee's name is not among the more than 300 predator priests identified in a recent grand jury report. But in general, the report notes there may be more indictments in the future as the investigation continues. For you, what does justice look like?
McGee in prison with handcuffs. And I don't even think there'll be closure then. But it would be a little bit of redemption, maybe. But I don't think I could ever get closure.
Bishop Troutman's name appeared numerous times in the grand jury report for allegedly concealing other claims of abuse. Troutman, who's now retired, denies all allegations of any cover-ups. A lawyer for the Erie Diocese says it will continue to fully cooperate with any law enforcement investigations. These are tough stories to hear.
They are, and we're going to talk more about it with the Pennsylvania Attorney General later. Thanks so much, Nikki.